Okay, so it's the 27th of May 2025, and this is going to be documenting the process of biting off more than I can chew. Where to begin? So it's going to be all about trying to figure out what Node.js is, what Next.js is, what databases are, how to deploy a website using Next.js or Node.js. So a few months ago, I had no idea what these things were. Node.js, Next.js, databases. I didn't really know. I just had some experience coding HTML and JavaScript in the past. So when I finished my master's degree and had to do some job hunting and networking, I made a web page. Actually, it wasn't that one. I made this web page as like a digital CV. So this was way back in 2019, before ChatGPT, before that sort of generative AI vibe coding existed. And this was a fun little project, and I made some JavaScript codes and showed them on this web page. And this was generally a good project and a good tool for networking. So it probably helped me a little bit to get the PhD program, because the people I was applying to could see it and they saw, okay, he's got some initiative and he did these things. Okay, and so now I just finished the PhD, and the plan is basically to do something similar, to make a web page to showcase some work. Actually, I didn't pass the PhD. I need to resubmit the thesis, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool to make a kind of web page where I can display each chapter or each part as a single contained unit rather than one big 200-page document, which is just overwhelming. And at the same time, I thought maybe it would be cool to make a page to make some blog posts, or I can share some articles or like whatever, So I had this idea in my head of a web page that I want to create, which has subpages, and each subpage has posts, and these posts are represented as these boxes, sort of like is going to be shown if I do that, and then you click on it and it shows a PDF, right? And it could be a PDF, it could be an image, could be a HTML file, and so I spent at least a month in Laos, basically trying to make this page that you see here. So this is I called it the Lotus Seed. And for a while it was on the internet with a series of articles produced by members of the Meditation Society in Leeds. Currently it's down because I hosted it on Amazon AWS, Amazon Web Services, and that just wasn't the right hosting solution. It ended up being super expensive, using the Elastic File System EC2 instance. And it's like £20 a month or something, which is AWS is designed for companies that have a large income, and obviously this has no income, so I needed a cheaper hosting solution. And also, though this page is good and it was a good start, I made it entirely with Claude AI. Probably about 60 prompts over a month. So you can add a post, you can delete and edit the posts. There's an about page which takes HTML code, and then there's even an admin panel where you can create new pages. So there's an alternative page here. And right? Okay, so nice little nice little web app, and does a lot of the things that I wanted it to do. Problem was wrong place to host, and I started to have a more clear idea of what I want the page to look like for my personal, portfolio page. And so I thought, okay, let's try this again. Let's try from scratch, knowing some more things. Okay, so the Lotus Seed page used Node.js, Express, and Multa. Node.js is just a way of running JavaScript on a machine. Express is something to do with managing servers, and Multa does file storage. So Multa allows you to upload a file via a website, and then that file is saved on the server. So the client uploads a file and it saves server side. These things I had no idea about before trying this. Absolutely no idea. And so initially I just started with a HTML page with JavaScript like this. This was just like a couple of prompts on Claude, and then I tried to ask it to say, okay, let me upload a document and save it. And so it wasn't possible because you need some sort of server-side thing, Node.js, right? And so we got to that point. Okay, so with a slightly more clear idea of what I want the page to look like, for instance, I want there to be a dashboard that has an array of subpages, and each subpage has just one component, and that has the posts. So in the case of the Lotus Seed example, this is a subpage. Currently there's two components and an about. I want each subpage to just have one component with the posts, and the about is at the top of the component. But there's also a main dashboard which has an array of subpages. Okay, and perhaps even there should be multiple dashboards for different users. So for example, if my friend wants to use the app as well, I can just I can host it and make a dashboard for them. They get to use it. Great. So last night I started playing around, had another crack at doing this from scratch. And it's amazing how fast these AI tools are moving, because to make this, it took about a month using Claude. Could have been faster, but I spent about a month on it using Claude. It seems like Claude has been really surpassed by especially Google AI Studio. Google AI Studio has a chat feature, and it also has a build feature. And also from Google is something called Firebase Studio. So Firebase Studio is specifically for building apps, and it'll prototype and build the app for you kind of seamlessly. It looks like you can even publish it. So it's all kind of confusing. There's Firebase Studio, there's Google AI Studio, and then there's Google AI Studio Build, which seems to be kind of somewhere in between, because it does something similar to Firebase Studio. It makes the app for you. It's designed for building the apps. So I started playing around with Firebase Studio, got something like this, and it kind of has the functionality that I was hoping for. So there's a dashboard, subpages, and you can add a new subpage, and you go onto the page, you can add a post, you can upload some file, and cool. Okay, so this one seems a bit buggy. There are some issues, but it kind of worked. And also the Google AI Studio Build feature created another one, and I found it amazing that it did this in just 1 or 2 prompts, because it had taken me a month to make something similar with Claude. So yeah, does this one work? Okay, this one maybe not so good, but Google AI Studio came up with this one, which looks like it has all the functionality. So here's the dashboard, subpages. I can go onto one, and I can create these posts. Add new post. Upload a file. Yeah. Add post. Okay, so it works. But what happens when I reload the page? So it's not connected to the server anymore. The problem is, if it was still connected, there isn't persistence, so the files aren't being stored anywhere. Because like the one you just saw, and like this one as well, these are built with Next.js, which is a front-end JavaScript framework built on React, which is a JavaScript package. But there's no server-side file storage. Okay, this is what I was using Node.js and Multa for in the Lotus Seed page, and it worked okay there. But this is where I kind of ran up against something to learn. So at this point I was like, okay, Next.js has this problem with file storage. It doesn't work very, I can't store files persistently. But I know that Node.js and Multa does have that. And I tried to get Firebase to make something with Node.js. It didn't want to. It only wants to do front end. It doesn't like doing back end. Same story with this Google AI Studio build feature. It only does the front end. If you ask it to make a Node.js app with backend and file storage, it'll say, nah, I'm going to do front end. Here's Next.js. Right? So that didn't work. So I went back to good old AI Studio, the chat feature, and asked it to make this app. So described it reasonably well with all of the subpages. The dashboard at this point didn't include the multiple users to keep it simple. So I want the files stored in a folder, Node.js, Multa, all of that good stuff. And through many, many prompts, I mean, not that many compared to the last attempt, but a few prompts, it did a pretty good job. So where is it? It made this one. So let's see. Register. So I can register. Okay. So I already have the account. Yeah. Yeah. So this has all the functionality required. So we're in the dashboard now, and I can make a new subpage, create subpage, and I can view the subpage. And then it's got this feature to make a post, and I can add the image and also a PDF, add the post, and there you go, it shows up. And I could add multiple posts on this subpage. Then I could go back to my dashboard and I could make a new subpage, go to my other subpage, and make new posts. So this is basically the functionality that we want. It doesn't look very pretty at the moment. Apparently Next.js and React are good for making the web page look pretty. Still kind of possible with raw HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, but I think Node.js, Next.js, and React are good for that in particular. So now the problem is, how do I host this on the internet? So AWS is too expensive, not really appropriate for this use case. Vercel is the other good option that does Next.js. It's designed to host Next.js, so I would need to convert this to Next.js first, because it doesn't have any backend. It's a serverless ephemeral hosting platform. There's no backend. I can't store files. This app stores files using Muttler in the root directory, in a folder in the root directory. So Vercel wouldn't work. Then there's this one called Render, and then there's also Superbase, and I don't really understand what these things are. There's something to do with the front end, something to do with the back end. This is what I mean by biting off more than I can chew, because I don't really know what any of this stuff is. I'm a true ignorant vibe coder, right? So, but then I looked around a bit more and found Firebase Storage, which is a Google platform, and they have they offer backend storage files at a good price. So it's 5 gigabytes free, and then it's like just I think it's 10 pence GBP per gigabyte. So that's good. I think that's a good price. Superbase is more expensive. I think it was Superbase that I was looking at. Superbase is like you have to pay $25 a month to get onto the package, which has higher than 1 gigabyte storage. So it's 1 gigabyte on the free plan, and then it's 100 gigabytes on the pro plan, which is $25 a month. And I don't want to pay $25 a month for this thing that's not making any money, and it's just kind of for fun. But Google Firebase has the 5 gigabytes, and then it's like 10 pence per gigabyte. So that's fine. I can do that. Problem is, so that's the back end. I need to host the front end. Want to use Vercel. Vercel needs Next.js. The point is, it doesn't do server-side Node.js. So how do we take what we've built with Google AI Studio in all these prompts? It's a reasonably substantial thing that we've built. Well, substantial for an evening. And how do we take this and convert it to a Next.js front end and a Firebase storage backend? I don't know. Let's ask ChatGPT. So I asked ChatGPT, told it my problems. Said I have a Node.js app that uses Malta and Express, and I want to convert it to Next.js and Firebase storage backend. Okay, and I asked GPT, make me a prompt for my AI tool that will do this for me. And it did that reasonably well. It gave me a prompt to give to Google AI Studio, which would migrate the entire app to Next.js so I can deploy it on Vercel. And this was the prompt it gave. Okay. And then Google AI Studio said, okay, migrating your Node.js Express app to a unified Next.js project is a great move for scalability, and it gave me some steps to get started. Haven't implemented these yet, but will do shortly. But then I thought, okay, let's make this simpler. And okay, I'll take the output after that prompt and I'll put it into Google AI Studio in a different chat, and I'll say, I'll take the whole output and I'll say, here's the output. I wanted to do this thing. I gave it this prompt. Here's the output. This was the prompt I used. Told it the prompt. This was the result I got. Big result. and then I asked it, it's a long output. Can you please tell me if this is a viable solution and explain if it will be sufficient, and if not, tell me what else needs to be done. If needed, either help me to create a different prompt to use in place of the one which will give a better output, or create a follow-up prompt which will help me along the way. But first summarize what this output says and how far it will get me. Good, so AI Studio said yes, it's pretty good result. This will do a lot of the things you need. The problem is you're currently using a JSON file as your database, and that's not going to work when you don't have Malta to change the file. Okay, so you need to make a new database, but you can use Firebase storage because you're using it anyway. So use that as a database. But this previous result doesn't implement that for you. So it just says, yeah, you need to do that basically. And good. So that's as far as I've got so far. I haven't implemented this or gone further with it. I think it was like 6 a.m. by this point, so I went to sleep. But back at it now. I'm going to stop this video here and make a new one with the result of whether I got it into Next.js and the Firebase storage. So I'll see you in that one.